What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome back to another episode of the best team in FIFA. Today I'm going to be building a team that I'm putting together rather than one that you guys are putting together, and the reason why I'm doing that, as you can probably tell by the title, is I wanted to build a super cheap team off the back of the really expensive teams that we've used recently. And one of the reasons why is because always in the comment section when I do a super cheap, a super expensive team is, I can't afford this, do something that's cheap. Or I see a lot of people ask for fitness teams and things, just, you know, really cheap teams that are going to be able to help them in their ultimate team journey. So that's what we're going to offer today. Now, I set some rules for today, but before we get into that, for a 10,000 coin team, let's try and go for 10,000 likes. If you guys could hit that, I'll bring another the best team in FIFA in 2 days. And if you guys want to obviously suggest to me your best team in FIFA, twitter.com/NepentheZ. So the rules I set for this team were that I could not spend more than 1,000 coins on any player within the team. A lot of them are worth less than 1,000 coins, hence the reason why I set a 10,000 coin team. It's actually probably like an 8.5 to 9,000 coin team. And also I set, like, I was able to offer myself position changes where I needed them. There were 3 position changes that I needed to apply in the team, which I'll take you guys through as we go through the team. I've gone for the 4-4-2 formation because it feels like a really strong formation at the moment in FIFA. I've used it in draft a couple of times. I've been watching Nick play with it on stream quite a few times, and he does really well with it. So I thought to myself, let's try a new formation. Let's get away from the 4-3-2-1s, the 4-3-1-2s, the 4-3-3s, and go for something that's not used often in FIFA and see how we can do with it. And because of that, because I'm taking a new formation and a brand new team that I've never, I've used hardly any of these players before, what I'm going to do is go into cups with this instead of divisions. And as we build the team, bear in mind that, this is a super cheap team. And first of all, the first player we're going to put in the team, guys, in goal is Ter Stegen. Now, Ter Stegen is obviously very, very cheap. He plays for Barcelona. I packed him, but you can buy him for less than 1,000 coins. You can see him there for like 1,200 coins. There's one there for 1,100 coins that hasn't gone. You will find him, I actually think you'll find him for about 800 coins, maybe 850 coins. And I know one thing that people are going to suggest is that this video is going to make the price of these players go up. It might make them go up a little bit, but it's not going to break the bank. Do you know what I mean? Like, these players, at most anyway, like, we're on page 9 and we're only 8 minutes in of him worth 1,000 coins. Like, it's not going to, it might make a player that's worth 800 go up to 1,000 and a player worth 1,000 go up to 1,300 or 1,400. But after a few days, those prices will come back down when this video's relevance kind of dies out a little bit. But Ter Stegen is the goalkeeper for us. Really well-rounded, quite often used in FIFA. And then in at right back, we have got ourselves Bruno Perez. It's the upgraded version. If you need to, you can get the 79 rated version, and he comes standard as a right wing back. Now, if you've got a right wing back to right back card, use it. If not, you can buy him on the market for 150 coins, which is what I used to change him. I bought him for 950 coins, as you can see there, and I actually had a right wing back to right back card in the club to use him. Now, the reason why I picked him is quite simply because of his blistering pace. 92 pace is exactly what you want. High medium work rate is okay for a right back. And a lot of you guys will actually have these players in your club as untradables from all those free packs that we've got from FIFA throughout the year. So for some of you, this team might cost even less. In at centre-back, guys, for the first centre-back that we got, we are going for Castan. And the reason why I picked Castan is because he's got a ridiculous card. He's one of those players, in my opinion, that is super overlooked in FIFA. He's 82 rated, and what you'll notice about this cheap team is that they're actually considerably good rated cards. Castan at 82, Ter Stegen at 82, Perez at 80. Castan has 72 pace, 85 defending, and 80 physical. That's really good stats for a centre-back. And the second centre-back that we're going to be putting into the team, guys, is going to be Thomas Vermaelen. So Vermaelen, obviously, again, another Barcelona centre-back. He comes, I bought him for 1,500 coins, but I bought him a long time ago when player prices were way weird. As you can see now, there's one there for 1,000 coins. I think you can actually pick him up for 800 coins on a good day, probably 900 coins on a bad day, but there's loads for 1,000 coins that aren't even getting bidded on at 950. The reason why I picked Vermaelen was because he's actually a really well-rounded player. Good pace, good passing, good dribbling for a centre-back. His defending is nice. His physical is a little bit weak, But in general, he fits the team really well for what you're going to be using this team for, as either a fitness team or you know, just a team to have a little bit of fun with, or practice FIFA with, or try and play a different game style with. He's going to be a really good player for you. So Vermaelen is there. And then actually at left back, we've actually got a player off chem. So there wasn't really many, was it Montoya? There we go. There wasn't really many options that we could have had here. Which one did I put? There you go. I bought Montoya for 750 coins. And yes, we play him at left back. On 6 chem. He will eventually get up to 7 chemistry when he plays 10 games for the club. The reason why I picked him again, really good pace. His dribbling, defending and physical and passing all in the 70s is really nice for a fullback. There are other options. You can go for Gaia for 1200 coins if you want, but I wanted to keep the rules correct and keep this team under 1,000 coins per player, which is exactly what I did here. Then in at left midfield, it was another position change player. And I actually bought him as a left mid though, so I didn't have to change position. But he comes standard, I think, as a left wing, and that is Piatti. And he's fantastic. 87 pace, 82 dribbling. His shooting and passing is okay, but his pace and dribbling is what you kind of need for that left mid spot. And once again, another 80 rated player. Montoya so far the only one in the 70s. The first centre midfielder we've got is one of the most overlooked midfielders in the game this year, and one of the players that I fell in love with way back in FIFA, early on in FIFA through draft, and that's Parejo. And a lot of people don't look at him and think that he's going to be good because of his pace, but he's absolutely phenomenal. 87 passing, 75 shooting is so nice. He does a great job with his 3-star skill moves and is just generally brilliant in the midfield. And look at that, from centre midfield, 7 games I've played with him all up in my career with this card on FIFA, 6 goals and 5 assists. That's 11 goal contributions from a centre midfield in 7 games. That's brilliant. In at the next centre midfield spot, guys, is Felipe Melo. And the reason why I used him was because I actually played against him a while back and on my Road to Glory account. And he was just God status. Like 79 rated, but he's got stats that just lie about his rating. He's got 70 at least in every stat, 84 defending, 84 physical, 79 defending, medium-high work rates and 6 foot tall. He is the perfect counter partner for Parejo to allow them to kind of work together in that centre midfield spot. And then in at the right midfield, you'll be looking at another position change, guys, and that is going to be Jonathan Biani. Let me get him actually on the club there. There we go. So again, another low-rated one, and his lack of skill moves can be quite damaging. He only has 66 shooting, but fortunately in this formation, the kind of wide midfielders don't get into shooting positions, not like in the 4-3-2-1. I wouldn't necessarily use him because I wouldn't like him, but I think he comes standard as a right wing. But there are so many of them on the market that getting him at right mid for under 1,000 coins will be easy. His pace and his dribbling are what make him him, and the fact that you've got another fast striker coming and another great striker coming, what he offers is absolutely brilliant. And the first striker we come up for in this team, guys, which again is actually going to be a position change, is Jeremy Menez. Now you can actually play him as a centre forward and he'll still get 10 chemistry. You can play any of these position changes and they'll get at least 9 chemistry. It's not a problem. If you've got them on 10 games, they'll get 10 chemistry without the position change, and if you've got the correct manager, you can get them to 10 chemistry without position change as well. But I went and bought Menez. I think I paid okay, so I actually got Menez in the club first owner. But Menez is, again, another very cheap player. We're looking at like 1600 coins here, but I know for sure you can get him for 850 or less because I had a look at how much he was going for when I bought him, basically. It looks like, I don't know if he's being price fixed here or what, but Jeremy Menez you can definitely get for super cheap. Let me actually go to the transfer market and take a look real quick. Hopefully it's got Menez in there. In before Menez is like all of a sudden, because it's Saturday or something, I'm recording this on Saturday, in before his price has gone up to like 1,500 coins or something crazy, which if it has would be quite disappointing. Yeah, it looks like it has. Okay, so we're okay, it might be 1,100 coins for Jeremy Menez. No 1,100 coins, no 1,200 coins, 1,300 coins you're looking at for Menez. So that's a bit disappointing. Honestly, when I looked at him last night, he was going for like 800, 850 coins. I don't know why all of a sudden his price has gone up so much. It might be because it's a weekend. But Menez you can get for cheap anyway. It doesn't, 1,000 coins, 1,200 coins. I assure you there will be a time in the day where you will be able to pick him up for 800 to 900 coins. He's fantastic. 86 pace and 85 dribbling with 77 shooting, 4-star weak foot, 4-star skill moves. As you can see, in the 7 games that I've played with him, I only played 4 games this video for what we're going to do, but I've obviously used him in my club before, and he scored 9 goals and got 2 assists. And then last but not least, up front is one of the best strikers in FIFA, in my opinion, and that is Aduriz. And you can get Aduriz for like 700 coins. Why is Aduriz so good? I don't know. He just really works. Like, he's got average pace for a striker, good shooting, good physicality, but in general, he is just a great striker. And in the 7 games we played with him, 11 goal contributions, 5 goals, 6 assists for him. So I have set some player instructions. I've set for the player instructions, I've got my fullbacks and my whole defense to stay back while attacking. I've got Piatti to stay wide and get in behind. I've got Parejo as it is. I haven't changed him. I've got Felipe Melo to stay back while attacking because I don't want him. He's our like rock in the midfield. I don't want him to get caught out up front and get countered on. We've got Biabiany, who also is to stay wide and get in behind. We've got Jeremy Menez, who's to stay central and get in behind. And because Aduriz doesn't have the pace, we've set him at stay central and target man, which is why, you know, we're going to hopefully let him drop back a little bit and let Menez go in behind. But that is the team, guys. You're not going to pay more than 10, 12,000 coins for this team. Because of this video, it's probably going to go up a little bit. In general, this team is like an 8 to 10k team. Every player is super cheap, and they are really good. And as you can see, we've only got 3 players in the whole team that are lower than 80 rated, which you don't see much in cheap teams. So that is the team, guys. Let's get into the gameplay. Okay, guys, so as we get into the gameplay, the first opponent we come up against has got a 4-1-2-1-2 kind of French/League One hybrid. Some really OP players in there: Lacazette, Ben Arfa, and Tep, Lucas, Varane. Perrine, actually, at centre-back, is a player that just doesn't get much love, but is actually a really good centre-back this year. And I was interested to see how this team played. And Thomas Vermaelen gets the first goal for the club. And one of the reasons why, by the way, as you could probably tell by the top left, that I'm probably actually said in the intro, why I played with this team in the Cup instead of Division 1 was for the simple fact that I've not used 4-4-2 in that competitive of a scene. You know, I've used it in draft a couple of times and I haven't really used it in Division 1. So I didn't want to go into Division 1 with a brand new formation and a brand new team without kind of testing it first. And that's actually something that a lot of FIFA players really neglect to figure out. And when people feel like they're on bad streaks and stuff like that, a lot of that reason is truly due to the fact that they just change everything on a whim. And it takes a long time to figure out what works with a team. Like when you've got a specific formation, players make specific runs, especially due to your player instructions and work rates and chem styles and such. And if you go from like a 4-3-2-1 where you're used to having 2 wingers and a striker and, you know, having a flat midfield 3, and then all of a sudden you lose a couple of games and out of frustration you just change up your whole team, you change your formation and you go to like a 4-4-2 or a 4-1-2-1-2, all of a sudden the players aren't where you're used to having them. So on the back of that, for the simple fact that I've used the 4-3-2-1 so much this year, I decided to go into the Champions Shield and play in there. So we end up taking a 4-2 lead after 50 minutes here. My opponent here, he was effective in front of goal, but he wasn't creating too many chances. And as you can see, by the way, his D-line was so high there. He's on like all-out attack. And I'll talk to you about the attack first. So I've not played with Aduriz often in a 2-striker formation. I've not played in general with slow strikers in a 2-striker formation. I usually play with them in a 1-striker formation because they basically don't require pace in a 1-striker formation, which is why for me personally, players like Jonas, Benzema, Aduriz, I don't know, that Andy Carroll when I had him in draft, like why players like that are effective in 1-striker, because your wingers are so far pushed up and so fast that all they have to do is then cut inside for the striker and he's got himself an easy finish. So I was interested to see how he played alongside Jeremy Menez, and overall I think Menez was probably the better striker. He definitely scored more goals. If I look at my notes here real quick, so we had Menez got 7 goals to Aduriz 3 goals in the entire 4 games that we played here today. And a lot of that was due to the fact that once I got it into an offensive position, the 1-2s with Menez and Aduriz, or Parejo or Melo and Menez, were allowing him to get in behind. And in general, he was just the more attacking player. But not only that, I actually set the 2 strikers on the player instructions, as again, you would have seen in the intro. I set Aduriz to target man and NepentheZ to get in behind, which would have had a massive difference. Now, the second opponent we come up against has got 5 legends: Sergio Aguero, in-form Chiellini, then he's got the pace of Alba and Abate, and Marquisio at CDM. That is like an incredibly fast defence, and I thought to myself, this will be a true test of this team, because obviously every single player in my team is less than 1,000 coins, or 1,000 coins or less. Maybe will cost a little bit more, maybe 12, 13, 1,400 coins after this video, but in general, like, so many of these players on the market, it's not going to affect their price too much. So you know, I'm sitting here with a team worth 10,000 coins, and my opponent's sitting there with a team worth, you know, potentially millions of coins. I don't really know how much some of those legends go for, but it's likely that it's worth 1 to 2 million coins for his team. And it's all here to show, for me personally, because I've done a lot of like really expensive teams recently, and people say, how about a cheap team? And I thought, you know what, how about a cheap team? How about like a super cheap team? How about a team where you can have almost no coins and still build a good enough team to take yourself through and win things? And that's exactly what we built here. And one of the best things about this team is not only the fact that we've got the attack of Adariz, who's got the clinical finishing, and NepentheZ, who's got the 4-star skill moves and the utter pace, but also the midfield is really, really strong. What I did was set my Felipe Melo, I set to stay back while attacking, which is why you only really see goals from Parejo out of the 2 centre midfields, because with the 4-4-2, because it's flat, if they all push up together and you lose possession, basically your opponent's in behind. And you actually see most of my goals conceded are counter-attacks. And that's because I get caught out in silly areas in the midfield. But Felipe Melo dropping back, he's a fantastic player. Like, for the 750, 800 coins you're going to pay for him, he is genuinely fantastic. And Parejo has always been one of my favourite midfielders this year since the very beginning, since I used him in draft, like week 1, week 2, week 3 of FIFA. He has just been one of those guys for me that has just never let me down. Into the semi-final of the tournament we go, and we came up against another super cheap team. I would argue that this guy's team is probably worth a little bit more than mine, maybe like 15,000 coins, because players like Welbeck, Joel Campbell, Sacco and Diouf, they actually go for a little bit more than 1,000 coins, potentially. Sometimes they do, sometimes it depends on the time of day and what packs are out, but in general they do. And I was actually a little bit like worried about this game, because I've got a cheap team when I'm in the semi-final. He's got a cheap team, he's in the semi-final. So we've both like had to overcome potentially expensive teams to get in. But I took the lead early with Jeremy Menez. I got really lucky off Cameron there to win the ball back. And one of the things that I've got with my team that I don't think my opponent has with his team is I have good defenders. And I mean that in the sense that, like, Cameron's okay, but he's got a lot of like 79, 78, 77 rated players. Most of my players are rated above 80. The likes of Thomas Vermaelen, you know, he might not have the most pace in the game, but his overall stats and things like mental stats that you don't register because it doesn't show on the card, like aggression, like positioning, things like that are actually really, really important to your team. More important, in my opinion, than having 79 pace instead of 70 pace on a centre-back, you know. So for me personally, and Castan the same, you know, Castan's actually got a great card. What has he got? Like 72 pace and then 80 defending and 85 physical. That is brilliant for a cheap centre-back, like truly brilliant. But we end up going 4-1 up against this guy, and this was like genuinely an easy game. But the midfield was absolutely great. And one of the things that you're going to get with this team is no thrills. You've got 4 stars on Piatti, you've got 4 stars on Menez. Everybody else is 3 stars or less for skill moves, which means you are forced to play FIFA. You're forced to play good football. You're not, you know, one of my biggest problems with the way that I play is, just before actually we talk about one of my biggest problems, the final, we come up against such an incredible team. He's got 98 Ibra, Footies Ben Arfa, who is fast becoming one of my favourite players in the game this year, and he's got the Footies Untradeable Konoplyanka, meaning he's good enough to win tournaments. So with my, 10k team, this could be a hell of a game. But one of the problems with the way I play, especially when I have my super teams, is that as soon as I get the ball with Ronaldo or with Neymar or, you know, with 98 Suarez, I want to do stupid things with them. I want that Suarez to score the goal of dreams. I don't want to play good FIFA and good football. I just want to try and be the superhero. And what you get with this 10k team is it brings you back to playing just good FIFA. It brings you back to being able to think, okay, I've got Parejo here. I can't outskill my attacker or, you know, the defender in front of me. I can't outpace the defender in front of me. I don't really have much about me other than good passing and good shooting. So I'm going to look for the easy pass and try and get in behind and score the goals. And that's exactly what this team offered. The defense was great. Playing Montoya at left back was great, and eventually he'll go up to 7 chem as well, which will be super helpful for those of you that might already have him on 7 chem. The right back was great, and in this final game, this for me was like literally going to be like a super test of how good this team was really going to hold up against not only a good player, which is shown by the fact that he's already won a footies tournament and he's in the final, but also by a really good team. And I was really surprised with how well this team held its own. Aduriz there plays it into Parejo. Parejo scores another great goal. Parejo was absolutely phenomenal for me throughout the tournament. And then into the second half, after taking the 3-2 lead on the stroke of half-time, Aduriz plays it into Piatti. Piatti with the fake shot, hits with the stop and turn. Great tackle from Krajkowiak, falls back to Aduriz. He hits him with the drag back fake, gets in behind, shoots and scores to make it 4-2. And that was all she wrote. So against a Legends team, against a cheap team, against our first team that we played, which was really OP, and against an extremely expensive team, 4 really different variable teams that we've come up against throughout this tournament, we ended up beating them all. Are there any faults with this team? Yes. The lack of skill moves can at times be damaging. The lack of pace in central centre midfield can at times be damaging. But in general, this team is absolutely fantastic, like genuinely amazing. If you guys are sitting there and you need like a fitness team, or you've only got 10 or 15k coins because you decided to blow it all on packs for footies or something, this is the team for you. A fantastic team. Let's go and take a look at some stats. So guys, there you have it. That was the gameplay, and as you can see, all of my players are out of contract now. I went back through the footage and calculated all the goals and assists because I've already got some games and stuff on a lot of these players. Like I've used, Parejo before, I've used Aduriz before, I've used Ter Stegen before. So the games and assists aren't necessarily accurate for their actual individual play styles. But Menez scored 7 goals and got 2 assists in the 4 games, which is really good. Again, for a striker so cheap, how much did we pay for him? We paid, we actually packed him, there you go. So we didn't pay anything for Menez, but over our 7 games with him, he's actually scored 9 goals and 2 assists. Aduriz, a little bit of a disappointment, but due to the way his he was set as a target man rather than to get him behind. His 3 goals and 4 assists was a really good contribution to the team over 4 games. Getting 7 goal contributions is nice. Parejo was absolutely magnificent, picking up 4 goals and 3 assists. Another 7 goal contribution for the team. Vermaelen and Ter Stegen both picked up a goal each. Of course, Ter Stegen with the penalty. Vermaelen scored the first goal for the club. Montoya didn't get any goals for the club, but he did get an assist. Piatti got 2 goals and 1 assist, and Biabiany got 1 goal and no assist. And overall, guys, for 10,000 coins or less, the reason why this team is so unbelievably amazing is because at the end of the 7 contracts, if you run out of contracts, if you don't have contracts in your club, if you don't use the bronze pack method for contracts, you can discard this team for around 6,500 coins. So 7 games plus bonuses, you're going to make easily the difference up to just rebuy the team. But there's absolutely no need to do such thing like that because this team is just fantastic. You can just go and get your contracts. And like Castan has got great stats. Vermaelen, a little lacking on physical, but in general, great stats. The pace of Perez was magnificent. Same with Piatti, with Montoya. He played really well at left back. There are other alternatives, but what you can use with this team is either use it as a fitness team, where you can just rotate it with your main team, or you can use this as a base team to then upgrade when you can afford better players. There's so many better players, like you could get Alba or Gaia at left back, super cheap players. You can change the Serie A side for a Bundesliga with like Aubameyang, like Bellarabi and Gundogan in centre midfield, and then go for like a Benatia at centre back, and any like Diekmar at right back would be just as good. Like there's so many options with how to change this team that the cheapness of it is absolutely brilliant, and you guys will love it. Let me know if you do build this team. Let me know if you play in divisions with it. Let me know if you play in the cup with it. Just let me know how you get on with it on twitter.com/NepentheZ. This is going to be the end of the video, so thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. I'm out. Peace.